Hello, everyone. Welcome to a fresh session of service marketing. We were in the introductory stage of service marketing. We are almost done with the first unit of service marketing, and today we are starting with the second unit of service marketing, wherein I will be introducing you to the concept of internal customers and internal marketing in service marketing. So, this is Dr. Swati Mishra from International School of Business Management at Suresh Gyan Vihar University, taking the session further in services marketing. The learning objectives of today's session are to introduce the learners to the idea of driving success in service marketing. The session will give the learners knowledge about the organization and use of internal marketing and internal customers. The learners will get an understanding of the concept of internal marketing, and the objective of this session is to understand the necessity of providing an excellent customer experience. So, after this session, the learners will be having an idea of how one can drive success in service marketing. The learners will carry the knowledge about how the organizations use internal marketing and internal customers. The learners will be able to apply the concept of internal marketing practically, and the learners will understand the necessity of providing an excellent customer experience. Yes, the customer experience, which is the most integral part in any service marketing or any services that you are trying to render to your customers. Because right from the moment your customer enters your premises, at every touch point, you are creating an experience for the customer. And always remember in marketing that one happy customer will tell maybe five others, but one unhappy customer will tell 50 others. And today, in the world of social media, you cannot even count how many people will be told about that. So, if you really want to drive success, you have to give your employees the same experience what your customers are going to get. And this is very important to make your employees actually understand the kind of experience that their customers are getting, how they can actually give them a better experience than what they are getting right now, so as to achieve greater heights of success in service marketing. So let us proceed with the session and try to understand the concepts of internal marketing and internal customers before we actually proceed with the further, detailed topics of service marketing. So if we just go and have a look at the previous eras, you will understand and you will witness that over the past few years, the companies have understood the necessity of providing an excellent customer experience, which I have termed as CX in this session. By CX, I would mean customer experience. And organizations across the globe have taken steps to delight their customers and turn their fans into loyal fanatics. So, in fact, the customers' experience management and market is projected to be worth somewhere around 16.91 billion US dollars by 2022. So that's a good news for the companies who are focusing on external customer experience. But what about the internal customers? Your employees. Your employees have many customer like interactions within your organization that provide an opportunity or sometimes a risk to improving their overall employee experience. Here in this session, I have termed employee experience as EX to make it easier for me to refer to it again and again. So please understand it whenever you see these terms EX and CX. CX refers to customer experience and EX refers to employee experience. So when the organizations embrace the idea that employees have expectations around the customer service provided internally, they can foster an environment that drives both managing and understanding the internal customer experience, which in turn promotes strong employee experience. I hope that you are understanding what I'm actually trying to deliver to you people. When we move ahead with the discussion, you will have a deeper understanding of it. So stay tuned in this video. The internal customers are actually the stakeholders who work within your company. They are the employees of the organization and they require assistance from another individuals or departments to get their jobs done. So this is in contrast to the external customers who pay for your services and are not directly connected to the organization. For example, just think about an employee when he needs to fix a computer issue with an IT help desk or request support on benefits from the HR. So this is what I mean when I say that your internal customer might require or any stakeholder might require any help from within your organization apart from the external customer who's actually paying your organization for any help. So employees have a relationship with the other groups which are existing in an organization internally that they request service or support from. So this doesn't just include your employees on the front lines, but of course the back office professionals or personals are also included in this. For example, when a person does not get a payroll timesheets in time, then some other person can just process it and the workforce doesn't get paid. So these are the kind of issues that may arise if the correct type of support is not rendered by one particular employee to any other employee. So there are multiple examples of internal customers. Unless you work solely for yourself, you are likely to have internal customers on your team and around your company also. So this can show up in many forms, and of course, different types of relationships can also be seen in this background. And they are very important for an individual to understand these relationships of the internal customers with each other to have a healthy growth of the service organization and to reach success in service marketing. So there are multiple such examples. I want to discuss two or three with you. The first one that I want to discuss with you people is two peers within a team. So, of course, on a marketing team, the person who distributes the emails depends on the writers and the designers to get the emails written and designed for him. So, if the writer is late in getting the copy to the coder, the email might go out late or with errors sometimes because the coder was rushed. So many peer-to-peer relationships are, classic examples of internal customer relationships. Similarly, an internal IT department and the company employees also have a good internal customer relationship. Like the employees rely on the internal IT help desk departments to ensure their computers their technology are running very smoothly. If there is any error in the functioning of a software, they might seek help of the IT help desk of the company or the software developers department of the organization for that matter. If there is any problem sometimes in the hardware, they also seek help. So first we are concentrating on the IT department. So without the working technology, employees couldn't of course do their jobs and help the customers, and of course the entire company or the entire organization is going to suffer because of that. So IT help desks, they should ask for relational and transactional feedbacks from their internal customers to understand where they need to improve. Unless the IT department people are not seeking the internal customers feedbacks, how do you expect them to improve in their processes and the kind of help and support they are rendering to the employees? And unless prompt and accurate result driven helps are provided to the employees, the entire operations in the department or the organization come at stake. Timely finishing of the work or timely completion of the achievement of the targets or timely completion of the tasks is not possible. Even if you are creating an excellent project team, but if the IT department is not supportive to the project team, how do you expect them to complete the project in time? And how do you, unless a project is completed within the deadlines, it is never considered successful. So that is why the IT help desk should ask for, relational and transactional feedbacks also. So that if any kind of improvement is required in their way of functioning or way of working, those improvements can actually be done, and it will benefit to the organization as a whole. Similarly, the next relationship is between the human resource and the department to employees and other departments. So, we all know that every employee is an internal customer to the HR departments because they provide employee relations, training, benefits, and sometimes mediations also. They sometimes also serve other departments as they recruit and hire for various positions which are vacant in those departments. So the relationship goes both the ways because other departments also serve them by complying with the HR rules, aiding in the hiring process, or supporting in the recruitments and interview processes. The IT department helps them in maintaining their records of the employees and in salary generations also. So of course it is a both way process. So human resource department also supports its internal employees. So like interactions with your external customers, service to the employees can be either something that improves or sometimes that degrades their experiences. If the HR department is giving prompt responses, sorting out the issues of their employees, then the employee experience becomes really very delightful, and a word of mouth spreads about that organization, that maybe if an employee is working with Deloitte and the HR manager of Deloitte is excellent, the HR department of Deloitte is excellent, then there will be a word about Deloitte that it is a delight to work in this organization. And of course, a happy employee will work in a better manner to render better services to the customers. And an unhappy employee will obviously will not be rendering the kind of services that you expect him to render to your external customers. So, organizations always need to recognize that these experiences have an impact and they are measurable, and therefore they can be improved by taking the feedbacks. If an employee is giving a feedback about a customer about an HR policy to the HR department of the organization, they must actually have a look at it and consider the suggestions while formulating the new policies for the organization, or maybe coming up with any kind of annual plans. Unless the departments or the supporting departments of an organization are doing this, the achievement of you know good internal customers experiences, or the employee experiences, as I said, will not be achieved, and therefore cannot be improved also. So when you're trying to manage your customer experience to drive your employee experience, there are some important points to be considered, like deploying an effective internal customer experience program, which starts with the understanding that we need to understand the customer experiences and an employee has within the workplace. And you also have to identify where the gaps lie in their experiences. So once you can recognize those gaps, you can actually work upon bridging those gaps. And of course, this requires a cultural understanding that the employees always serve each other, and they serve some specific functions depending upon you know how they do their work and how they support each other in working upon some project, or maybe completion of any particular task or target, or any work which is given to them by the senior management or their senior colleagues. So, there are some practical ways which you can start to foster an environment that embraces and maximizes the internal customer experience. So, let us, just discuss those practical ways to understand how you can foster such an environment. First of all, you need to start with the feedback system. Organizations always need to identify where the key customer interactions occur for the employees. Once these critical moments are identified, you can actually proceed with the journey mapping, which is a great way to outline from the start till the end, you know, what this experience is like for an employee. Whenever an employee is giving you any feedback, you have to keep a constant record of that employee's feedbacks to understand his journey with the organization, how it is proceeding and how it is moving forward, whether it is good or bad for the employee, whether the experiences have been good for the employee or not. And unhappy employee is never going to give good ratings to your organization, and is never going to be loyal to your organization. And obviously an unhappy set of employees would always lead to uh, poor working procedures, improper schedulings, incompletion of work, and ultimately lead to unhappy customers. So, this will allow you to understand where the breakdowns in the experiences may occur. And in turn, it will also make you understand that where you may need additional feedback from, and from the employees to actually find a solution to their problems. Because unless you are giving a solution to the problems of the employees, how do you expect them to function in such a manner which is beneficial to the organization? So that is why the first and the foremost task is to start with a feedback. For example, if the IT help desk phone line is consistently an experience that seems to cause employee frustration, the organization may need to collect employee feedback after this interaction to understand what is making it so unsuccessful, what is making our internal customers end up into getting frustrated. So getting this employee feedback in the moment of a transaction, similar to a customer uh, transactional study, allows you to get timely and specific feedbacks on where a service process breaks down, where the rectifications are necessary, and how to proceed on the way to correcting the malfunctionings or the deficiencies that are existing in a system. The second most important step is to take action and use a closed loop follow up. So what happens is that most of the external customer experience departments use a closed loop feedback to turn a negative interaction into a positive experience. So this principle can also be applied to internal customer experience as well, developing a company culture that seeks and appreciates the feedback. It creates a healthy work environment in the organization. For instance, if an employee depends upon the HR for benefits or some kind of support, he needs some character certificate, or maybe he just needs his salary letter or experience certificate to present in a financing company for a loan that he wishes to take to buy a new house. But he does not get a good or a prompt response which he needs in an initial call. The HR can actually initiate a ticket to ensure that the employee gets resolution in a timely fashion. Because these are very minor things that have to be addressed by the organizations. If they are not addressed properly, they lead to employee dissatisfaction. So the third practical way to do this is to create service standards. Yes, having service standards, fixed service standards in your organizations is highly important. Creating internal customer service standards will actually give all the employees a baseline for how they should be operating. For instance, if your IT help desk team may have a standard that each request should get acknowledged within 4 hours, you know, or maybe these service standards help, they will help everyone in your company or team to feel valued, that yes, my employees are a valued possession for my organization, and I cannot waste their time. I cannot let any other department waste their time by leaving their queries or their problems unanswered or unattended to. So these service standards actually help everyone in your company to feel valued, and this sets an example for others to follow, and it sets an unprecedented example for the time it takes to complete a task. And this will also make your organization more efficient, more effective in functioning. This will also make the employees tongue tied, that since I made it compulsory for every department to revert to the problems within 4 hours, and they were reverted to, and the problems were getting solved, then how could an employee say that they could not finish their tasks in time? So it's a win win situation for everybody, and especially for the organization which is trying to render some good services to the customers. And lastly, there is a last practical way that I want to share with you to enhance the employee experiences. The you need to learn to celebrate the success. Employees are highly motivated when they are celebrated, and they will also repeat those behaviors. So when a team, or maybe an individual or a department, displays great internal customer experience, use it as a training moment to teach other employees about the internal customer experience best practices. It is important to note that creating outstanding internal customer experience starts at the top with managers, directors, and C level executives. So, as the employees see their leaders living out these principles, they will be more likely to, latch on to the culture, and they adopt these practices themselves also, and they start celebrating the success within each other, and a good culture develops within the organization, and you can actually find healthy culture, supportive culture in your organization, a great camaraderie within the working teams in your projects. So, understanding the power of this internal customer experience culture actually helps an organization to create a very enjoyable and productive work environment. So, all this customer experience, internal customer experience that I just spoke to you about, is actually very valuable if you want your customers to feel connected to your team, to feel to have a feeling of belongingness to your organization. And slowly, if you want your employees to take the responsibilities by showing, you know uh, authority of that particular task that is in their hand, you have to develop a great work culture in your organization by celebrating the success of your employees. And this would ultimately lead to a very enjoyable working environment in your organization, a very, very positive environment in your organization, which would reflect upon your external customers also. Like whenever we enter any bank, and there is a very healthy camaraderie within the bankers, and they are actually enjoying their environment, you always see happy faces there, who are working very efficiently, who are on their toes to serve their customers, and that experience of banking that day becomes a very memorable experience for you as an outside customer. So that is why, to have a healthy relationship with your external customer, it is far more important for an organization to develop healthy customers within their internal customers also. So only and only if your internal customers, that is your employees, are getting good experience, they would be actually able to deploy that good experience within your external customers also. So, this makes it highly important for the organizations to actually impart some practically good experiences to their employees, understanding their needs, delivering them fast responses, responding to their problems immediately or as fast as you can, to develop a good culture, good, healthy relationships amongst your employees. And this is something that ultimately benefits the organization as a whole. So, I really hope that the concept of internal customers is absolutely clear to you. This was just an introduction to the concept of external and internal customers to the learners who are viewing this session today. Further, we will be diving deeper into these sessions, and we will be understanding more key strategies towards developing, healthy internal customer relationships and thus providing a good relationship or a good service to our external customers also. Meanwhile, we have come to an end of today's session. I really hope that today's session was thoroughly informative for all the learners who are viewing this video. At the end, I would like to say and request to all of you to please post in your comments and queries in the message boxes. I would be really glad to answer to your queries and provide you some teaching learning notes to understand these concepts in details. Meanwhile, that is all from my side for today. This is Dr. Swati Mishra from International School of Business Management at Suresh Ganviar University signing off. Thank you so much for viewing this session. Have a nice day. Bye bye.